It is Graham here, still living the dream in 2019 in beautiful Penn Valley, Northern California. This trip to California was all about business and planning for 2020, but as you can imagine, I've always had this ethic of work hard, play hard, and this trip hasn't been all about work, I can assure you that. There was two of us from out of town visiting the office this particular week in late October 2019. Jim from Michigan looking after the east coast of the US business, and of course myself from the UK looking after the Europe, Middle East and African business. While Jim spent the week with Daryl and Linda, I spent the week with Tom and Star. Or should I say Tom, his lovely wife Star, their two dogs, their cat and of course their horses at this gorgeous ranch only a few miles from Penn Valley in Nevada County, Northern California. And therefore I'm going to take this opportunity to apologise to poor Star, because without a doubt I took over your house for a week in October and I do apologise. However, you and Tom were awesome hosts and it was a real privilege to spend a week with you and get to know how you live your dream in what is an absolutely gorgeous part of the world. So as you can see, horses play a large part in Tom and Star's life. And hopefully these snippets of video go some way to showing you what a great life Tom, Star, their daughter Rachel and her boyfriend Max have in a state where the sun shines more than 300 days a year. I am jealous. During my trip to California in October 2019, I was honoured to be invited to the swearing in of Rachel, Tom and Star's daughter as an animal control officer at the Nevada County Sheriff's Department. And here is Rachel being presented by her certificate by Sheriff Moon, and then her father Tom being invited to pin her badge on her. I'm not sure who was more worried about that, Tom or Rachel. Before Rachel and the other recruits at the Nevada County Sheriff's Department and the local prison were all sworn in. And after the lovely ceremony, it was time for some family photographs, which of course had to include Rachel and Max's dog, Apollo. If Sunday is the day of rest, Monday to Friday are days of work, Saturday, without a doubt, is the day to play. And on this, the first Saturday in November 2019, Tom wanted to take me to his local town, Nevada City. A gorgeous little town steeped in history from the gold rush days.
So one of the things interesting about California, particularly the gold mine area, is that a lot of folks they think that it was all these white prospectors that came in to do a lot of the mining and building, but that's not entirely true. There's actually quite a bit of Chinese that were more or less slave labor that were brought in to do some of the hard rock mining and building a lot of the rock walls and such. And actually Nevada City is very interesting because this is where the wealthy mine owners lived, and they had a whole underground tunnel system, a lot like a subway, but of course there's no cars in it or anything, and you could go from one building to the other, and of course the most popular buildings to go to were the brothels, and it was underground, and I can show you one of those, at least I'll point it out here in a minute. But this is primarily 1840s and up is kind of when it was built. You can see kind of the age now compared to a lot of the buildings in Scotland, where Scotland's mostly stone. We have a lot of this basic wood, and then some of the better built ones that were built probably with Chinese labor with old mine rock. This is stone. Looks a little more like what you'd find there in back home. And then right behind it, you can't really see, but there's an entrance to the side of that hill to the underground that would take you to the bars and the brothels and everywhere else you wanted to go. Now this is Old Town, Nevada City. Very, 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 very famous, very touristy. They kind of maintain it. A lot of very tight regulations on what you can and can't do as far as modifying your buildings. This hotel has been a hotel for 150 years. Still is, the National Hotel. This is your typical old western mining town main drag. I'm surprised it's as wide as it is. A lot of the streets are very narrow. And this is kind of the real deal. Of course, now it's touristy, so you got little shops and quaint things. And bring your wife, hold your hand, and walk down the street and go shopping, buy things you don't need. This is an actual theater. Still is very fascinating. I love to go in and show you. But it's they used to do all sorts of plays. Who's the American writer? Twain. Performed there, Mark Twain.
Mark Twain.
This is the firehouse. It was a single carriage driven fire engine, kind of a deal. And kind of this was built all out in the Victorian area, so you see a lot of Victorian area like this church here and that kind of thing. This is the old school motor motel. People used to go across the country in their car as a vacation, and I think this is really cute. They named it the Outside Inn. I'll go in it just for chuckles here. It's probably worth staying in at some point just for fun. And then every room has been perfectly redone to the era. But this is how people in the U.S. in the 40s, 50s, 60s, that's what they did, is they'd travel around the state or the country, and they had all these little motor motels, and this is what they do. Bring your family, the kids, and the dog. Now I'm going to go back down that same street.
After a tour of Nevada City, Tom style, in the pickup truck, it was time to park up and explore the town by foot. Tonight was a Halloween party, a little bit more about that later, but Tom wanted to buy a hat to go with his Western sheriff's outfit. While Tom and I were busy not really exploring Nevada City, Star, Tom's wife, was instructing a yoga class at the local gym.
This is called surprise yoga bomb to your wife. This is how you embarrass your wife on her anniversary.
Yes, folks, God love poor Star. It wasn't just their anniversary today and Halloween at the same time, but Tom decided it was going to be a great idea to video bomb her yoga class. Who needs friends when you've got Tom? And after embarrassing poor Star, it was off to lunch, followed by a trip to a local mine. Or what I should say, once was a local mine, one of the largest gold mines in Northern California.
So in the parking lot, we just parked in. Someone found some placer gold and got it from the surface, and then they sold that to a miner for like all the mining rights for like $200. Well, little did they know they were sitting on one of the biggest strikes there was. So in 1854, they started building the mine shafts, and then they went down to 6,200 feet. But what'll be 11,000 feet here in the 50s. But I'll show you in here. This will be worth filming.
And this, folks, is the mind-boggling scale model of the mine, which was developed more than a century and a half ago. I did say earlier that it was Halloween, and that meant we were invited to a Halloween party. And of course, guys, in America, they've got to do it massive. And at this party, it was fancy dress. And I do mean everyone went fancy dress, including me. And as here, I'm going to bring this video to a close. And where I once again want to thank Tom, Star, Rachel and Max for making me feel so welcome and being part of my Penn Valley adventure in late October 2019 into early November. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and remember that you can find Fiona and I on Facebook at Liv'n the Dream page.
State the truth, spit it out, I'm waiting. Don't leave me contemplating my own life. Save the bullshit for another man or lover. Don't need a 4-leaf clover to decide. Cause I'm coming on strong, the grass should've looked greener. I need a true believer in disguise. If I'm loving you wrong, short changing and receiving, girl, you best believe